Philmont Scout Ranch is a large, rugged, mountainous ranch located near the town of Cimarron, New Mexico, covering approximately 137,500 acres of wilderness in the Sangre de Cristo Mountains of the Rocky Mountains of northern New Mexico. The ranch, formerly the property of oil baron Waite Phillips and now that of the Boy Scouts of America, is a national high-adventure base in which crews of scouts and venturers take part in backpacking expeditions and other outdoor activities. It is one of the largest youth camps in the world in land area. Between June 8 and August 22 around 23,000 scouts and adult leaders backpack across the ranch's extensive backcountry while over 1,250 seasonal staff personnel maintain the ranch's summer operations. Philmont is also home to the Philmont Training Center and the Seton Museum. The training center is the primary location for BSA's national volunteer training programs. Philmont is also operated as a ranch, maintaining small herds of cattle, horses, burros and bison. The only documented Tyrannosaurus rex track in the world was discovered within the camp's boundaries in 1993. It was formally identified in 1994 in North Poniel Canyon by the Anasazi Trail Camp. Location and geography. Philmont is located in the Sangre de Cristo Mountains of the Rocky Mountains of New Mexico. The closest village is Cimarron, New Mexico. The address of the ranch is usually given as 17 Deer Run Road, Cimarron, New Mexico, 87714. It is also about 20 miles west-northwest of Springer, New Mexico, and 35 miles southwest of Raton, New Mexico. Philmont is about 12 miles across at its widest point, and about 30 miles long. There are no mountains to the south or east of Philmont. The interior of the ranch is mountainous but a small part of the eastern area is prairie. Philmont's lowest point is the southeast corner at 6,500 feet and the highest point is the peak of Baldy Mountain, located on the ranch's northwest boundary, at 12,441 feet. Aside from Baldy, the ranch contains a number of prominent peaks. The South Country is home to a series of 6 difficult peaks, namely Mount Phillips, Comanche Peak, Big Red, Bear Mountain, Black Mountain, and Schaefer's Peak, as well as Trail Peak, which is popular for its nearness to B-Bean, and the wreckage of the crash of a B-24 bomber in 1942 near its summit. Of the ranch's various peaks with trail access, Black Mountain is widely considered the most difficult, followed closely by Baldy and Big Red. The most recognizable landmark is the Tooth of Time at 9,003 feet, a granite monolith protruding 500 feet vertically from an east-west ridge. Tooth of Time Ridge, and the latitude line on which it sits, marks the boundary between the central and southern sections of Philmont. The boundary between the central and northern sections is around U.S. Route 64, which runs just south of the narrowest part of the I-shape, which is only a few miles across. Other prominent landmarks on the ranch include Grizzly Tooth, Window Rock, Deer Lake Mesa, and Araca Mesa. History: Native Americans of the Jicarilla Apache tribe and Ute tribe once inhabited Philmont. A few Native American archaeological sites exist in the northern section nearby the Indian Writings Camp, and various camps seek to preserve Philmont's Native American heritage. On April 22, 1942, a B-24 Liberator crashed into the side of Trail Peak. Waite Phillips led a rescue crew up, but the 7 men on board were killed on impact. Among the casualties was Eagle Scout Roland L. Jeffries and Star Scout Charles O. Raynard, Jr. Some of the wreckage still remains, including a wing and propeller, and because of its location, it is the world's most visited airplane crash site. Private ownership: the Santa Fe Trail crossed the plains just southwest of Philmont in the mid-1800s. The Tooth of Time owes its name to this trail. Travelers knew that once they passed it, they had only 1 week to go until they reached Santa Fe, New Mexico. Philmont's strategic location along the trail spurred some interest in it. In 1841, Carlos B. Bean and Guadalupe Miranda obtained a large land grant from the Mexican government, including the present ranch. Soon the grant fell into the hands of B. Bean's son-in-law Lucien Maxwell, who played an important role in developing and settling it. Maxwell sold the ranch to the Maxwell Land Grant and Railroad Company, which gave up and handed it on to a Dutch development company, which decided to parcel it out to ranchers. One of the most prominent ranchers was Jesus Gil Abu, who ran the Abu Rayado Ranch from the 1870s to his death in 1901. Operating from the Rayado settlement, he raised cattle, goats, and sheep and grew crops. The family owned this property until 1911, when they sold most of it off. One of the sons remained on the ranch near the site of Abu, a present staffed camp, and his homestead was preserved for years. The building was made of adobe and eventually collapsed. The foundation of this building now serves as the foundation for the Abu Cantina. The house was reconstructed in 1998 about 100 feet uphill. The history of mining at Philmont dates back to the years immediately after the Civil War. U.S. soldiers were stationed in the West after the war, as the U.S. Army was driving out the American Indians. The story is that one of these soldiers befriended an Indian, who happened to give him a shiny rock. The shiny material in the rock was found to be copper. According to the story, the soldier and two of his friends went up to investigate, and found gold. They could not stay to mine the gold and the area was overrun by miners by the time they returned the next year. Scores of gold mines were excavated in Philmont, and operated into the early 20th century. A large vein of gold is said to lie under Mount Baldy to this day, but extracting it has not been feasible. It is a common joke at Philmont that someday the mines under Baldy will collapse and Phillips will be the highest mountain in Philmont. The Contention Mine, located at Cypher's Mine, and the Aztec Mine, located at French Henry, are open to guided tours. Wealthy oil magnate and wilderness enthusiast Waite Phillips amassed a large part of the old land grant in the 1920s, totaling over 300,000 acres. Phillips built a large residence in the lowlands of Philmont. He turned the ranch into a private game reserve for himself and friends, and built a number of hunting lodges and day-use camps. He chose not to provide electricity at the remote camps. A few of these original camps, including Fish Camp and the Hunting Lodge, have been preserved, complete with wood-burning stoves, oil lamps, and unique design features indicative of Phillips's often eccentric taste. Contributed to Boy Scouts, Phillips sometimes allowed others including a few Boy Scout troops to visit his ranch. He was so impressed with the Scouts that in 1938 he donated 35,857 acres of his land to the Boy Scouts of America. The only condition was that it be used for the benefit of the members of the Boy Scout organization. He donated a second, larger section of land later on, requiring only that this section pay its fair share of taxes on any portion devoted to competitive commercial operations. In 1941, Phillips added more Philmont property, including the Villa Philmonte, bringing the total to 127,395 acres. Contrary to popular belief, Phillips did not donate his entire ranch to the Boy Scouts, but only that portion of the property that provided the most recreational value. The total donation comprised about 40% of the ranch. To help fund maintenance of Philmont, he also donated the Philtower office building in Tulsa, Oklahoma. In 1963, Vice President of the National Council Norton Clapp contributed funds to purchase another 10,098 acres of land within the Maxwell Land Grant, consisting of the Baldy Mountain mining area. In 1989, the Boy Scouts obtained a renewable special use permit to the Vaux-Vidal unit of the Carson National Forest from the United States Forest Service, allowing Scouts to hike and camp in the area. Philmont operates 3 staffed camps: Whiteman Vega, Sealy Canyon, and Ring Plaisir, and 2 trail camps in that area. Those camps serve around 3,000 Scouts each summer. In return, each camper is asked to contribute 3 hours of conservation work in the volun projects approved by the Forest Service. Rich Cabins, a historical farming cabin on Ted Turner's Vermijo Park Ranch, is also operated as a staff camp. Camp name: the camp was initially named the Philton Rocky Mountain Scout Camp. The word Philton is derived from Waite Phillips' name, together with the good turn he did by donating the property. The ranch's name was then changed to the Philmont Scout Ranch and Explorer Base. Early organization: in its early days, Philmont was run utilizing a half-dozen base camps constructed at strategic locations. Visiting scouts lived at one of these camps for a week and could take day hikes to surrounding locations. To visit a different area, the scouts packed their gear onto burros and hiked to another base camp. Eventually, possibly due to the advent of modern lightweight metal frame backpacks and other backpacking technology, the program was restructured to be backpacking-based. Programs and activities. Trek. The standard and most popular Philmont program is the backpacking trek. A typical Philmont trek lasts 12 days and covers anywhere from 56 miles to 106 miles. In 2014 there are 35 different trek itineraries, ranging from challenging to strenuous. Each trek covers distinct regions, peaks, and camps. A group of scouts on a trek is called a crew. Most crews are assembled in the local council by troops, venturing crews, or local councils. A crew consists of 8 to 12 people accompanied by 2 to 4 adult leaders, a chaplain's aide, wilderness pledge guide, and a crew leader. A contingent consists of 1 or more crews from the same council, traveling together. Sister crews are crews that follow the same itinerary and are usually from different troops. Around 360 trekkers arrive at base camp every day of the season. The first crews depart with their guides, or ranger, on June 8, and the last crews depart on August 14. During the last few weeks of the season crews may be placed on shortened itineraries, which run from 6 to 9 days in length. Trek experience. Crews travel to Philmont on their own via aircraft, chartered bus, or Amtrak, to the cities near Philmont. The Southwest Chief runs between Los Angeles Union Station and Chicago Union Station, and includes a station in Raton. Scouts can then take a shuttle from the Amtrak station to Philmont. There is private plane service at Raton Municipal Airport, but there are no commercial flights there. Nearby commercial airports are the Albuquerque International Sunport Airport, Denver International Airport, Colorado Springs Airport, Pueblo Memorial Airport with service to Denver, and Rick Husband Amarillo International Airport. Commercial chartered buses are available to and from the airports and some cities. A typical crew arrives in base camp, checks in at the Welcome Center, and meets its ranger, a trained staff member from the ranger department. He or she assists them in the various base camp procedures, which consist of completing all paperwork at registration, verifying their itinerary with logistics, checking out gear at outfitting services, and receiving health checks at the health lodge. A crew also receives several days' worth of Philmont Trail food, packaged in bags which feed 2 people each. The exact quantity depends on the crew's itinerary and the day on which it is scheduled to reach the next commissary, but is usually 3 days' worth of food. Philmont also provides optional cooking supplies. The crew spends its first night in the trail-bound side of Tent City, where the trekkers sleep in canvas tents. The next morning, they eat breakfast at the dining hall, have their crew photo taken, and board a bus to one of the ranch's several trailheads. The ranger verifies the trekkers' general backpacking knowledge and teaches them specific Philmont procedures, such as bear procedure and latrine usage. Rangers stay with their crews on the trail for 2 days and depart on the morning of the 3rd day. In the next 8 days the crew will hike through the Philmont wilderness, staying at various staffed camps and unstaffed trail camps scattered about the ranch. On the final day, the crew returns to base camp, sometimes by bus from a turnaround or by climbing over the Tooth of Time and hiking directly into base camp. During the final day at base camp, the crew cleans up, returns various Philmont-issued supplies, and attends the closing campfire. Conservation Department. There are 5 divisions of the Conservation Department, each led by an Associate Director of Conservation, Work Crew, Conservationists, GIS, Environmental Education, and Order of the Arrow Trail Crew. Work crews are staff groups who are responsible for maintaining and sometimes creating campsites and trails. Trail crews known as advance teams are the first conservation staffers to begin hiking and clearing the trails, 1 month prior to the first participant's arrival. Conservationists live and staff camps and lead conservation projects for treks passing through their camp. The GIS staff map trails, campsites, and other features of the Philmont backcountry. In recognition of the 100th anniversary of the BSA, Northrop Grumman donated high-resolution geospatial data of the ranch to Philmont. GIS and the Conservation Department will use the data to create enhanced maps and improve conservation efforts throughout the ranch. Roving Outdoor Conservation School. The Roving Outdoor Conservation School, started in 2000, is a 21-day trek program that is open to males and females between the ages of 16 and 21. ROCS is an educational backpacking experience rooted in conservation and environmental science education. Throughout the trek, participants have lessons rooted in environmental science, visits from guest speakers, and the opportunity to work on conservation projects with the Philmont Conservation Department and the U.S. Forest Service in the Val-Vidal unit of the Carson National Forest. While on the trail, participants learn about ecology, botany, dendrology, geology, hydrology, forestry, soil science, fire ecology, environmental policy, leave no trace principles, environmental ethics, conservation techniques, and wildlife, range, and land management practices. Participants tackle conservation projects ranging from trail building to meadow encroachment to timber stand improvement to erosion control to stream restoration. Participants are exposed to the land management challenges facing the West, as well as the rest of America. The program focuses on empowering participants so that they may transfer what they learn on the trail to their lives back home. Trail Crew Trek. Trail Crew Trek is a 14-day education experience rooted in service through conservation. Participants build trail for 7 days and then go on a 7-day educational trek throughout Philmont, involving hands-on experience with a variety of conservation projects on the ranch and visits from guest speakers involved in conservation and resource management. Order of the Arrow Trail Crew. Order of the Arrow Trail Crew is a 14-day program for Order of the Arrow members aged 16 to 21, gives participants an opportunity to work on various conservation projects around the ranch. Order of the Order Trail Crews follow the same format as Trail Crew Treks, 1 week building trail and then a self-planned, week-long trek. Many Order of the Arrow lodges and sections offer scholarships to Order of the Arrow members. Ranger Department. The Ranger Department was founded in 1957 by Clarence E. Dunn, Jack Rear and Dr. Ray Loomis, the former of which served as Chief Ranger for 14 years. Rangers are responsible for ensuring that all participants know all required skills and procedures needed for backcountry treks, and for coaching the youth leadership to help them develop their skills and confidence and have a successful trek. They hike along with crews on the 12-day treks for the first 2 days on the trail, during which time they teach and observe the crew. They are also responsible for search and rescue on Philmont property and in surrounding areas. The Ranger Department also includes mountain trek rangers who lead the week-long mountain treks that originate in the Philmont Training Center. Ranger trainers, experienced staff who have finished 1 or more seasons as a ranger, train and supervise rangers. Each trainer oversees from 8 to 10 rangers in a ranger training crew and are expected to lead 2 backpacking crews per summer. In the summer of 2013 there were roughly 240 people in the Ranger Department, organized into 25 training crews. Upper Ranger leadership consists of coordinators for the Rayado, Mountain Trek, Service Academy, and scheduling programs, 4 associate chief rangers, and the chief ranger. During the summer of 2007, the Philmont Staff Association coordinated a 50th anniversary Ranger reunion at the ranch. Over 300 former Rangers attended this event. Rayado Program. The Rayado Program is a select, strenuous 21-day backpacking program designed for experienced scouts. Rayado crews are accompanied by 2 Rangers and experience a number of challenges geared toward developing personal growth, a sense of stewardship for the environment, and leadership skills. Rayado participants are challenged physically, mentally, and spiritually as they hike Philmont's most challenging trails, visit parts of the backcountry that are never seen by regular trek participants, and take part in activities that are not available to other scouts. This includes difficult rock climbing and instruction in outdoor leadership, wilderness problem-solving, and advanced outdoor skills which include wilderness backpacking, navigation and travel, expedition behavior and group dynamics, advanced cooking, wilderness stewardship, and wilderness first aid and backcountry emergency procedures. A Rayado trek encourages personal growth, teamwork, and leadership ability. Participants must be at least 15 and less than 21 years old, be in excellent physical condition, and skilled in leave no trace camping. Applicants must submit a letter of recommendation from an adult scouter detailing their character and backcountry experience. Applications must be approved by a parent or guardian, a unit leader, and the local council executive. During 2012, 2 Rayado programs are scheduled. The cost is $690 per person. Rayado scholarships, presented by the Philmont Staff Association, are annually awarded to deserving campers who wish to take part in the Rayado program. Scholarships generally cover the full cost of the Rayado program, but a number of smaller partial scholarships are also available and all Rayado participants are encouraged to apply. Transportation to and from Philmont is the responsibility of the camper and is not covered in the scholarships. Rayado crews are put together by Philmont staff and consist of people from different parts of the country. A person may only be a Rayado participant once. A ranger may only be assigned to a Rayado crew once. And staff members are disqualified from participation in Rayado treks except as rangers. The Rayado program was once known as the Kit Carson program. Ranch Hands, a program in which young men and women can earn an 8-day cavalcade trek at Philmont by participating in an 8-day work session. Participants work with the horse department staff taking care of Philmont's 250 head of horses and 80 head of burros. Participants help by hauling hay and feed, saddling horses, helping keep the horses shod, and assisting on Philmont trail rides. The work can be strenuous and requires top physical and mental conditioning. After the 8-day work session, the Ranch Hands crew gathers together and embarks on an 8-day cavalcade under the leadership of a horseman and wrangler. National Advanced Youth Leadership Experience. National Advanced Youth Leadership Experience is a high-intensity Boy Scout leadership course taught at Philmont Scout Ranch. It is based on backcountry high-adventure skills and began in the summer of 2006, replacing the previous National Youth Leader Instructor Camp course. The course is available to Boy Scouts and venturers aged 14 through 20 who have completed their local council National Youth Leadership Training course and is held during 6 one-week sessions. Based at Philmont's Rocky Mountains Scout Camp and taught at various locations across Philmont Scout Ranch, the program hones youth leadership skills through ethical decision-making and participation in Philmont Ranger backcountry training. Other programs, cavalcades are similar to standard treks, but are conducted on horseback. The packing restrictions are even more intense than a regular trek as participants are only allowed 2 standard sleeping bag stuff sacks to pack everything into, including their sleeping bags. The participants focus more on horse care than on other programs at the camp, though they still do take part in many other activities. Cavalcades last only 7 days total, with 2 days being in base camp. Mountain treks are a 6-day backpacking experience for youth PTC participants. Philmont Autumn Adventure Program, CANIC is a winter program similar to Northern Tirzok Peak. Guided activities such as fishing, winter camping, and skiing, are offered throughout the year. Historic programs, Philbreak program ran from 2003 to 2009. An alternative spring break program started in 2003 to help restore Philmont Scout Ranch after devastating forest fires. From 2004 to 2007, the participants worked on the Araka Trail, which is intended as a day hike for those attending the Philmont Training Center. Participants in the 7-day program were expected to work 8 or 9-hour days in all types of conditions. The program took place during 3 separate weeks during March. Participants also had an opportunity to take a ski break at Angel Fire. In 2008, the design of the program switched to mirror that of Philmont's CANIC. Participants spent 3 days and 2 nights in Philmont's backcountry as well as provided service on the final day. The program did not operate in 2010. Philmont Facilities, Camps. Philmont operates from one large base camp, including camping headquarters, the Seton Museum, the Philmont Training Center and Villa Philmonte, fire response facilities, cattle headquarters, and an administration area. During the 2012 season there were 34 staffed camps and 77 unstaffed or trail camps. Only some trail camps have a potable water source. Camps without water are referred to as dry camps. Most of Philmont's camps are about 2 miles apart. Old camps are closed or relocated and new camps are opened every few years. Some campsites are closed due to changing safety protocols. For example, camps were once located on top of a rocky mesa and in the Baldy Saddle, but these are unlikely to reopen because the locations are at risk for lightning strikes. Commissaries, campers and hikers initially obtain camping food from the services building at base camp. Commissaries at Philmont are usually a small warehouse that is stocked weekly with trail food for campers, groceries for backcountry staff, and various other supplies. Some commissaries include a trading post that sells a small variety of odds and ends, including postcards, postage, and games, along with repair kits, white gas for crew stoves, and other backpacking necessities. To limit the quantity and weight of consumables carried by a crew, most crews stop at a commissary every 3–4 days to replenish their food supplies. Commissaries are located at Baldy Town, Phillips Junction, Ute Gulch, Ponyhill, Apache Springs, Rich Cabins, Ring Place, and Miners Park. Philmont Museum and Seton Memorial Library. The Philmont Museum and Seton Memorial Library at Philmont features exhibits about the ranch's history and the history, art, and natural history of the area. The Ernest Thompson Seton Memorial Library is a research library containing Seton's personal collection and an extensive collection of volumes pertaining to Western law and the history of the area. Scouts can sign up at the library for a tour of Villa Philmonte. Kit Carson Museum. The Kit Carson Museum is a living museum that operates in the Cimarron Rayado, located 7 miles south of Philmont's headquarters. Interpreters demonstrate 1850s period frontier skills and crafts including blacksmithing, cooking, shooting and farming. The museum also features exhibits about frontiersmen Kit Carson and Lucien Maxwell who founded a colony at Rayado. Chase Ranch. Starting November 1, 2013, Philmont Scout Ranch will starting running the Chase Ranch. Chase Ranch is adjacent to Philmont Scout Ranch. The ranch is near the Ponyhill Creek, a mile north of the Cimarron River. Chase Ranch, like Philmont, is a work cattle ranch with Herefords, that were introduced onto the ranch in 1883. Gretchen Sammis Chase started Chase Ranch Foundation with the goal of educating young people in the ranching experience. Awards. By meeting the challenge of Philmont, participants are considered to be worthy of awards. The awards represent the Philmont experience that can never be sold or traded. Only earned. All awards are outlined in the Philmont Guidebook to Adventure. Arrowhead Award. An individual camper award is presented by their adult advisor when they have attended opening campfire, the New Mexico story. Completed a Philmont-approved itinerary with your crew. Completed 3 hours of staff-supervised conservation work or a camp improvement project on Philmont and took advantage of every opportunity to learn about and improve our ecology, and practice the art of outdoor living in ways that minimize pollution of soil, water, and air. Fulfilled the personal commitment to the Wilderness Pledge. Lived the Scout Oath and Law. 50-Miler Award. All Philmont itineraries can qualify crew members for the 50-Miler Award as it relates to distance. 3 of the 10 required service hours must be done at Philmont. Even if the award's requirements are completed at Philmont, the unit's leader must file an application for the group at their local council service center. We All Made It plaque, an award presented by Philmont to each crew that demonstrated good camping practices and scouting spirit. Followed an approved itinerary and camped only where scheduled. Fulfilled the commitment to the Wilderness Pledge. Took advantage of every opportunity to learn about and improve our ecology, and practice the art of outdoor living in ways that minimize pollution of soil, water, and air. Wilderness Pledge Year. Philmont has asked each participant to sign the Philmont Wilderness Pledge, which declares that he or she will do everything possible to preserve the beauty and wonder of the Philmont Wilderness and our neighbors' properties through good Scout camping. Youth crew members and adults are eligible to participate in the program. The Wilderness Pledge includes ranger-led training in all Philmont camping practices, include leave no trace, information on Philmont bear and wildlife procedures, daily discussions on the trail that focus on each of the 7 principles of leave no trace, and to give 3 hours of conservation work under the direction of a member of the Philmont staff. Duty to God Award. Under the guidance of a crew chaplain's aide, each participant in a trek may work to fulfill the requirements of the Duty to God Award. Requirements include attendance at a religious service, participation in at least 3 daily devotionals and leading grace before a meal. Previous awards. The P. or Silver Dollar Patch set was available from 1942 through 1956. The full set consisted of the base round P Philmont patch ringed by 6 specialty segment awards, plus additional staff and mountainman segments below the ring of segments. The ring segments included a sportsman segment for shooting field sports, a camper segment for woods housekeeping, a horseman yellow spur segment, a beaver lodge conservation segment, and woodsman and naturalist segments. Below that ring was the coveted Mountainman Award for those who completed multiple requirements while attending for 3 years, and who have proven themselves to be in love with the out-of-doors. Philmont Traditions. The Philmont Hymn is the ranch's official song and was written by John Benton Westfall in 1947 when he was 19. Westfall was the lone staffer at Vista Grande at the time. Westfall, who at the time was a student at Pittsburgh State University, wrote the song on a trip home to Kansas on a train from Philmont, influenced by the click-click, click-click of the tracks. He later became a professional scouter in Iowa, Kansas, and Oklahoma and worked as a salesman for Phillips Petroleum. The Philmont Grace. The Philmont Grace is a prayer recited before meals at many Boy Scout camps and events around the U.S. It was originally written in 1929 by A.J. Fulkerson, camp director at Worth Ranch Scout Camp in Palo Pinto County, Texas. The version of the Grace, as it is used at Philmont, is notable former staff, Wally Berg, ranger in the 1970s and director of conservation. First American to summit Litz in 1990. Steve Fawcett, ranger in 1961. Also served on the Philmont Ranch Committee, later a record-breaking aviator. Donald Rumsfeld, 1949 guide, later United States Secretary of Defense. See also, Chase Ranch, Roving Outdoor Conservation School, James P. Fitch, Outdoor Education, Tooth of Time, Wilderness Grace, Girl Scout National Center West, Mount Phillips. References. Further reading. External links. Museums at Philmont Villa Philmont, Seton Memorial Library and Philmont Museum, Kit Carson Museum at Rayado, Philsiach, an interactive trek planner and virtual ranch tour, USGS Professional Paper 505 Geologic History of Philmont Scout Ranch, the Philmont Explorer Database of Philmont Trek Itineraries, Voices of Oklahoma interview with Elliot Chope, and Virginia Phillips. First-person interview conducted on May 5, 2009 with Elliot Chope, and Virginia Phillips, son and daughter-in-law of Waite Phillips. Original audio and transcript archived with Voices of Oklahoma Oral History Project. Documentaries about Philmont's history and development.